Back from Baltimore, ready to recap a Detroit Lions 38-30 victory. I'm the Doc, John Macaroon. Welcome to the Detroit Lions on SI Lone Wolves podcast. Let's fire it up. What did you think? First and foremost, got to take a little bit of credit. Remember, on paper, those that do previews analytically picked the Ravens. Remember, on paper, those that analyze numbers from last year trying to project what's going to happen got it wrong. If you understood what was going on psychologically with the Lions and you paid any attention to what was being said at Allen Park, when the team talks to the media, it's not just to copy what they say, it's to also interpret. The Lions felt punked 2 years ago. They wanted to avenge losing 38-6. They went out there and played great. They played an unbelievable game. Many of you are calling it one of the best games that you've seen coached by Dan Campbell. What's your reaction? Great trip for me to Baltimore. Got a chance to talk to Aiden Hutchinson's dad before I boarded the flight to Baltimore. Got a chance to drive around the city. I ate a ton of oysters, and so far so good. It looks like all the batches of oysters I had, delicious. Stayed at a great hotel. People were nice. The game was amazing. We'll recap it over the next hour or so. Listen, got up 4:30 yesterday morning for taking early 7:30 a.m. flight. Watched the game, covered the game, stayed up till 1:30. Got up this morning at 6. Got some things together, headed to the airport, dropped off the rental. Still got a lot of energy. But I do want you guys to realize the national media all picked the Ravens. All my staff picked the Ravens. I went on the air, on the radio, and said, I think I said it on Crunch Time first, and then I said on the radio, I feel like the Lions are going to play well. I feel like psychologically, this is a get-right game for the psyche, the morale after getting punked 2 years ago. They wanted to end that bad streak of not having competed against the Ravens. It's a Super Bowl preview. I had a good feeling based on the way that Sam Laporta was like, we feel like we can come back. And also, you have to pay attention to injury reports. They're significant. Madubuike being out kept Jared Goff clean. Kyle Van Noy, not there. A couple other injuries, but not as pronounced. Let's go. Detroit Lions were victorious. The Detroit Lions marched into M&T Bank Stadium and were getting after it. It was great. Did you hear I asked Dan Campbell another question? He wanted to talk more about motion. Matt, why didn't you ask Dan about motion? Well, listen, let's just be honest. Once they realized the offense week 1 was not going to ever win them a game, they ran an offense that looks better. Did you see against the Packers, St. Brown to Gibbs for a touchdown? Remember, guys, my question wasn't about motion. Dan is smart, but my question wasn't about motion. It was feasibly, which I think it's feasible. You could run your offense very similar with communication to what you did last year. And the last 2 weeks, they've been able to run the ball effectively, inside zone runs. They've been able to get after it a little bit better in the run game, trick plays, explosive plays. That looks like an offense that's Super Bowl caliber. That's all. Again, and it wasn't that deep of a question. He could have just said, no, it's not feasible. Sailor Outlaw George gets in. This was a magnificent early birthday gift for me. And with 3 days before my birthday. Early birthday gift, them dominating on Monday Night Football. It was a great vibe. Lions fans were all over the place. And remember, the more Dan mentions it, the more the site blows up. I'm loving it. People are like, are you okay with Dan keeping saying it? Listen, must have been a memorable question. So it's helping digital numbers on X at Detroit Podcast, helping the video views. So listen, it's a job. You do the job, you ask the questions, and I'm privileged. And I think you guys are starting to get a sense that I don't have to really worry about gaining favor from anybody. I'm in a unique position. What's up to you, Matt? Shout out to Matt, Sailor, the early 150 people in. Brent, my guy. Told my buddy pregame. Brent gets in. Told my buddy pregame. MCDC never forgets when he gets his ass kicked. What was your initial reaction to the game? We got about an hour. Like I said, I am feeling good energy-wise, but let's also realize this was a performance that was on the big stage. Why is it that, and I might have set my goals small for the 10% of the local media, for those that have, I need to get Mina Kimes to read my work. If she would have read it, she would have realized, wait a minute, that John's onto something. Maybe one of the personalities would have picked the Lions. Across the board, something's wrong, just based on simple production. Nobody at ESPN believed the Lions? Wow. Nobody? But remember, when they talk, it's interesting, but trust your local guys. And among the local guys, there's some guys that like to look at things on paper, and there's some guys that kind of go with a little bit of feel based on what the Lions are saying, based on the injury reports, based on what could happen. On paper, the Lions are supposed to lose. On paper. But they don't play the game on paper. They play the game on the field where there's motivation, there's the psychology. On paper, the Lions are supposed to lose. We'll share a little bit at the end what Baltimore was like. My goodness, me and the writers were like this. But Baltimore, their setup was in some way very interesting and unique. I just wish the NFL would adopt the best from every stadium and make it universal. They had a freight elevator for all of us to get to the media talks. 60 people in one elevator. That was awesome. We're going to talk about that PPW. Some comparisons to Terrion Arnold that are not great. So the Lions, it was a back and forth game. The turnovers were key. Aiden Hutchinson, Derrick Henry has now got a fumble problem. He can't be trusted, I guess, according to some. The Lions demoralized the Ravens. They out-physicaled them. They played and executed at a very high level. That fourth down call. The Lions, weathered the storm when the Ravens in the second half got after it with their tight ends. Andrews is still a monster. But when the time came, 7 sacks? That was amazing. 7 sacks total. 7 sacks, 2.5 from Al-Quadin Muhammad. Did your favorite podcaster tell you to, I think I said it on Wednesday, to win, trust Al-Quadin. And I predicted the Lions to win. I was the only staffer at Lions on SI to pick the Lions. I picked them to win 30-27. Said it on the radio, said it everywhere. You just had to feel that the Lions wanted revenge. And there's no better team that when they take the field looking motivated, executing well than the Lions. Sam Laporta got involved. Brian Branch dropped an interception. Derrick Henry was definitely helping the cause by turning the football over. And the Lions were able to corral Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was looking like some of the guys walking down the street next to me. And then, I asked Dan Campbell, hey, there's a lot of noise about your defensive line not getting enough sacks. Many people didn't credit them for the stuff they did against the Bears because it was with a big lead. And he said, you know what? We're not going to let anything that anybody says on the outside dictate what we are. You saw Brad Holmes show love to Al-Quadin Muhammad, who got a game ball. So Dan did give an answer. But you can see the video of our fun interaction. I laughed. That's the spirit in which you take it. Guys, trust me. Dan would not poke a jab at me if he didn't know it's going to be lighthearted. But I'll say this. If you want, you could just say, Doc, I'm a free bird. I can go or not go. I make my own schedule. You can say, Doc, Stop going. Stop asking those questions. Just stop going. We don't want to hear your voice anymore every single day. If the majority of you say that, I might do it. But I think you guys, on some level, like it. You like to have a guy that you can say, hey, don't ask those questions, Mr. Macaroon. But what did you guys learn about the Lions? First of all, what was your reaction watching? It was great for me. It's work. You got to type. You got to be aware. You got to pay attention to the line. You got to pay attention that I think number 78, Lacey, got into the game. You're like, oh, wait a minute. You got to pay attention that they tried a play that was terrible, that had 3 players behind Jared Goff that lost yards. There's just so much going on. And then plus, from our vantage point, we were right above the fans. So there was a large group of people like banging into the walls, like bang, 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 bang. So it was just like a lot of stimulation at this football game. It was rocking in the press box. And then you're not comfortable because you're typing like this. Because the guy literally was right here. And then another guy was right here. Sheesh. It was not per se comfortable. The food was good. They fed us well. What did you learn about the Lions? I think that the first thing that you can naturally say is if they play to that capability, Super Bowl's there. And you know I was going to ask Amon-Ra. What do you think I was going to ask him? I said to Amon-Ra St. Brown, you played the Ravens. This was billed as a Super Bowl preview. You played them, you beat them. If you guys meet your goals, and I said it calmly too. You see how I flowed? Because I had it prepared. If you see him again, if you guys meet your goals, you want to run it back with them again? And the best thing about Amon-Ra, he knows there's tough questions coming. He knows questions could come like that. You see how it just slips off the tongue? Do you see how he just answers a question? You never feel uncomfortable to ask him whatever. He can just answer it. Well, teams can change, and you know what's going on. Simple as that. Well over 150,000 views. Lovely. You know, so what did you guys learn? More importantly, what did you learn about the Lions? Is it time to say, Brad, get somebody to play opposite of El Quidin? Yeah. The Keys to Wisdom wants to jump on certain drives when they won. Bro, they were just yelling and screaming and having a good time. It was festive. I would have jumped in over that drive failure and done that job that needs to be done for him to get better. I would have told him it was pathetic and inexcusable. What drive are you talking about? I think I know what you're talking about. Was it the one before the half? For the hits. Habibi, were you at the game when he mentioned he thought you were going to ask him about motion? That was me that he was talking to. I filmed it. The video that you saw was filmed by me. I asked Dan, can the defense gain momentum and become sack masters in essence because you had 7 sacks? People are talking that your defensive line doesn't get sacks. And he talked about, he doesn't care what the outside narrative is. In essence, we're good. And he said, I thought you wanted to talk about motion. No, that wasn't on the agenda. But that does well for me when he does that. That does fine. I took it as funny. That's how I took it. For the hits, exactly. That was funny. That's going to be my career achievement. Dan doesn't like John's talk about motion. That's one of, let's say, 10,000 questions maybe I've asked. 7 years. Let's say 1,000 questions. 99.9% good ones. So, what did you learn about the Lions? What did you like? First of all, the defensive line was able to kind of silence some critics. Aiden, a lot of the sacks come from linebackers. Lot of pressure. 2.5 sacks from Al-Quadin Muhammad. They were able to corral and keep Derrick Henry from doing any damage outside of that first touchdown. Brent, I learned that Johnny Moe seems to be totally connected with the weapons he has, knows when and how to use them, doesn't abandon the run. Yes, that's the next lesson that everybody learned was the offensive line and Tate Ratledge and Penei Sewell on that side were blocking tremendously. Christian Mahogany growing. They got better fast. Listen, sometimes you have to have such a bad performance that it's eye-opening that any time that they loaf, you could put that up and say, you will get embarrassed if you loaf. Also, too, the Lions had a spy. Malik Cunningham helped the Lions prepare. Malik Cunningham, his addition last week was not just happenstance. He provided valuable resources. He helped the team prepare. Now, on Wednesday, the defense stunk it up in practice, but they got better. Please, guys, smash the like button. 250 people early in the show. Please smash the like button. Smash, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live that, hey, there's a show to catch up on. I'm trying to go live twice, 2-3 times a week where you guys can get interact, get your voices heard. Or learn, hey, who is that asking those questions? Why are you asking it? Why doesn't anybody else ask it? The best part was Ravens fans came into my chat and said, bro, you ask all the tough questions to your own guys, and our reporters don't ask tough questions to our guys. I love it. The Ravens fans showed me respect. I love that. Ryan gets in. Shout out to you. Great profile picture. The Lions hosted veteran defensive tackle Quentin Jefferson. Is there an injury we didn't know about? You're telling me. Bro, I'm going strong, but at this very point at 5:30 on Tuesday, I'm right at the end of the gas tank. So I didn't even know that. I'm not really at this very moment. I wanted to interact with you guys, give you guys a chance to shine. Any questions you want, and then the end till tomorrow, I'm out. I need some sleep. That is a grind. That's why I don't do it. That is a once or twice a year go balls to the wall for 48 hours. That's not the lifestyle I want. None of you guys care about me, the 300 people. The flights were okay. I was medicated. The flights were okay. A little turbulent coming back. Going there was great. Lions fans came up to me. Good questions. I appreciate the Lions that were on the airplane asking me to ask Dan some other stuff that I cannot ask him. I said, I can't ask him that. I ask him football-related questions. Y'all some crazy people. Cortez, what's up? What's up, Doc? No, so to your point, Ryan, tomorrow we'll be back to full bore. I'll be honest with you, Ryan. All I remember was the Sione Vaki injury. So you guys can help me bridge the gap. Listen, I don't think that there's an injury. I think that, the competition, maybe Roy Lopez and the penalty that he took maybe did not impress the team. Roy Lopez took a bad penalty, Ryan, remember? I wrote that nice and big on my notes. No, thank you. There's always news going on, and for the most part, I'll be up to date, but not today. Not today. Be like, wait a minute, that guy just slept right. He was doing a show and fell asleep. Whew, that's a young man's game to get up at, and you probably should go on a Saturday or Sunday, but I hung out with family over the weekend in Kalamazoo. So I flew out Monday morning, no delays, everything on time, super smooth, no issues, no drama, no Karens, no issues. Everybody minded their business, in and out. And the best thing about Baltimore, if the Lions play them again, that's an hour flight, 1 hour in the air. Even the most scaredy cats, 1 hour, you can knock out some old fashions. Baltimore food lived up to the hype. It was good. For the hits, I loved everything besides the end. It felt we celebrated early, and they paid for it with that last touchdown by Lamar. What did you guys learn about the Detroit Lions? Shout out to John Hughes. I learned that the offensive line got better real fast. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, that's a two-headed monster for real. For real. Don't forget about David Montgomery. 150 and 2 touchdowns, broke away, but doesn't have that breakaway speed anymore. They caught him, but he's still a great player. Great asset and great offense. And remember, guys, here's what people do. Again, don't conflate the issue from the Packers game. The issue from the Packers game was, hey, they look like they veered off the Super Bowl path. They're right back on it. That's why people are happy. But you gotta remember now you're facing number one defense in the league right this week. And the Lions learned they kept Jared Goff clean. You keep Jared Goff clean, he'll execute a defense. Phil gets in. Always appreciate your support, Phil. I learned that Ben Johnson took a lot of credit for things he didn't himself earn. No. He was part of it. He earned it. He got himself a job. That's the final stamp. You can't dismiss him. He got himself a job. Someone gave him $13 million. Now, his speech was not as good as Dan's. Better than your best. Nobody gives a F in flight. Nobody gives a flying F. Better than your best. Go fly a kite with that. Ben Johnson will be fine, but he's no longer part of the Lions. We got the sensei, though. John Morton, the sensei, taught the student. John Morton, the sensei. Remember, he installed this offense. And you got talent. Remember, guys, nobody in the local media after the Packers game was concerned that they were not going to still win 10 games. The question is, are they Super Bowl caliber? You're better than the Ravens, but they were without some players. Are you better than the Bills? You need pieces. Remember, you need pieces. You always want more. Always. 2-3 more impactful players. Now you can talk about going up against the Bills and dominating. For the hits, he's out for a month. It's not season ending. It's a chest injury. It's not good. But guess what? I mean, you just got to look at him as you get what you get, and that's it. You can't count on him. Got to ask it. Did the Lions get better with the removal of 92? He's got to work his way back, and when he comes back, he's got to play better. Did the Lions actually get better because of a player going on IR? Max Splicer, I'll get to that. Do you guys care about the other stuff besides football? It seems like it's 50-50. You love the football content. You love my takes. When it veers off into personal talk, it's like 35% like it and 35% are like, okay. And then the rest are like, But I'll talk about it a little bit at the end. You know how it is. 55 minutes of football talk, 5 minutes on myself. But it was fun, Max Splicer. It was fun. I know how to have a good time. I consumed the seafood. What did you guys think of Aiden Hutchinson defensive line? 7 sacks. Do you trust the defensive line more than before? It seemed like, there's a couple little inner wars going on. And remember, just because the Lions are 2-1, they got to continue the momentum moving forward. It's a good football team. But remember, this is the highest of high standards. And when you play bad against the Packers, it still counts as a loss. Yeah, I know, Phil. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love the personal stuff, and especially the podcast and reporting tips. That means a lot. That makes sense, right? Show some respect to someone actually getting paid to do the job that rose through the ranks as a podcaster. Thank you. Appreciate you, Phil. Free tip. Don't be afraid to ask for interviews. You're going to get told no a lot, but don't be afraid. Most people will at least acknowledge, hey, thanks for the invite, and you try to work it out. And number one thing is be authentic and be entertaining. Have some energy to it. Come with it strong. And remember, you got to say something. I cannot. Guys, there are people from other teams messaging me about reports and questions I'm asking. Gotta love that. It's a good time, man. It's a real good time. Did the Lions make the correct move by passing on to Darius Smith? It's too early. They're winning. Did you see the great moves by Aaron Glenn? Ben Johnson got the win first. I thought it would have been the other way around. What was your biggest thing that you learned? 300 people in the chat. Hit the like button, but friends, thank you. You know we're going to talk about it. You guys are asking about it. It's concerning. Now, I need to fact check it because I got it confirmed by Christian. Was that Jamo's brother? I should have wrote the story, but it's like, come on. Is it? I don't know the story. I don't know the details. Is Jamo's brother a kid? Is that real? Did Jamo's brother legitimately go on X? Because I asked Christian, I said, 6, is he a practice squad player on the Ravens? Is there any way this is not real? Y'all were sharing on, like, plus when I'm writing, I do get a feed of all your guys' comments. There's stuff going on. There's stats and organizational type stuff I'm doing. So did really Jamo's brother call number 6 out on social media? That makes no sense. I was like, really? And a lot of you guys were messaging the podcast or me saying, why is Terrion doing a podcast if he's not playing well? That's a tough one. I love podcasts. Was that him? What? Do they have beef? That makes no sense. Jamo's got to be like, bro, you can't be putting that out there like that. The whole world saw it. If I wasn't tired, I would have wrote it. I might write it tomorrow. I'm still I got 3 stories left in the chamber I haven't published yet. Vito's column is good. The running backs are amazing. That's crazy. But I didn't, I just made a joke of it on X at Detroit Podcast. I said, well, it looks like Jamo's brother's not going to be a guest on Terrion's podcast. That's for sure. What's your concern level right now? 1 out of 10. 1, chill, Doc. Too early. 10 being, you all said it. I'm not taking credit for it. 10 being Terrion Okudah. Shame on you people. You already dropping Terrion Okudah references? Terrion Okudah. I saw that. Not only, I think you guys like it, not only am I a media member, but I'm also a consumer. I swim in the comments like you guys. I can swim in the comments. I can get in the dirt and troll. On paper, the Lions are supposed to lose. And I can sit with the regal establishment of the National Football League. Kurt Warner was there yesterday. He said, Doc, good question, bro. I said, I know, Kurt. You and me are the same. I'm the Super Bowl guy, too. Or I'm the supermarket guy, too, of the media. Thank you, Kurt. That didn't happen, but if it did go down that way, that's what would have happened. He would have been like, you're the supermarket guy of the media. Respect you. But he was there eating just like everybody else, just like me. It's cool to see. He's got aura. He just walks in there and just looks cool and fly. It was cool. I get starstruck. I was like, okay, I did tell myself, John, don't go over there. Don't bother the man. He's trying to get some chicken on his plate. I just wanted to say, man, your story's great, bro. You're a great media member. You tell it like it is. You say what you got to say, and you get after it. What's your concern level? Scott, 5, right in the middle. John Hughes says 4. Oh, Petty. Jeff Arnold. Anakin, 3.5. But, I had a conversation today with Matt Shepard in the morning. He interviewed me. Very nice man. We have good rapport. He's like, wait a minute. Slay, they changed it and tried to put him in more zone. Shepard was not happy with Terrion Arnold. He said, this is different than Slay. Slay was a man-to-man solid corner, and his defensive coach tried to put him in more zone. Didn't put him in the right spot. That's why he stunk. He's like, Jeff Okudah is supposed to be good at man. He's not good at man. And Matt was going after it. I was like, I respect that. I went with more of the injury concern. Hey, he's not looking good, but he's not playing as well. He's getting beat, and he's getting targeted. That's not good. Is it Terrion Okudah? I will say this. I tried to get him for an interview for the podcast to promote it, but the connection with his people has not, I don't get it. I probably wrote the number wrong. I was excited that he gave it to me, but I know I read it right. He gave it to me right from his phone. He's like, contact these people. No problem. We would have a good chat. So let's just say I'm efforting Terrion Arnold to promote his podcast, and we have a chat. But I'm sure it gets down the pipeline and somewhere or another like, him? No, don't talk to him. Him? The motion guy? Motion. Motion is key in life. If you stay active, you stay moving, you stay thriving. Motion's key. I'm more stagnant. I get bored. I went into motion, got my ass on a plane, made some money, made some clicks, got to see a different stadium. Motion's key. When you stagnate, you slow down. Once a year, I want to get out and go. Get on a plane. Do the things you got to do. Go report on the Lions. Say, hey, Laura Rutledge, put me on the show. I'm Mediterranean. I'm better than Peter Schrager. She's like, John, are you the guy that's sliding in my DMs? No, that's not me. Yeah, it's me, but no, it's not me. She's like, John, I'm not coming on your podcast. All I know is you're the motion man. You get Swagoo. I'm like, okay, man. You get Stephen A. But Laura will not come on your podcast. I should try, right? You know, maybe there's some beef there with the way JMO and Terrion compete, that the brother got into it as well. Also, to help me out. Maybe if you guys see TA, be like, go on John's podcast. He's real. He's cool. He'll have a good time. He'll laugh. He'll be like, I didn't know that guy can interview like that. What's your concern level? He did get a little better, but they did also sub in Amik a little bit too. It was not good enough. Not the standard for Terrion. His man-to-man is not as good as what it should be. And it's got to be also, too, a factor is that it's 100%. It's too early to call him a bust, but he's not playing as well as the Lions need. Patty, are you still meeting Jared Goff's wife, Doc? I work for On SI. She's an SI supermodel. We have never met formally. She probably was like, you're the guy that posted that sick video. I'm like, your husband's the one joking about it. She's like, you're the kind of guy that laughs at that. I'm like, yeah, I am the kind of guy that laughs at that. All right. Now, something did happen, though. I almost did it. Real fast before we ask my next question here, before I get out of here and really get some much-needed sleep. The Detroit Lions digital content lady was sitting right behind me. I know it was her. I saw her name. I was going to turn around and say, right at the end of the game, I was going to say, hey. I was in my fine outfit on SI. I was going to say, hey. I was thinking in my head, how do I deliver this message? Hey, I'm a content creator. I have a nice, healthy podcast. I have a thriving audience that's loyal, and it's steadily growing. And I've grown more haters and I've grown more followers since 2019. Could you please put my website on your daily drive? I almost said it. But then I said, you know what? Do I give a F? 48% I do. 52% I'm fine. I wanted to look at her and say, my name is John Macaroon. I write for On SI. I've written 7,000 blogs. I'm fine. My numbers are fine. Help out my guys. Highlight Vito and Christian. They're good guys. They don't deserve to be lumped in with a guy who is successful and can run the media operation any way he wants. That's the secret to me, is I'm successful with a whole other venture. So I can run the media however I want to do it. I could go out here and talk to myself. I'm fine. I'm a psychologist. I also do other stuff. I wanted to say it. It was in my head. I said, Miss Lindsay, Listen, I'm really not the way you see me on the internet. I'm just having fun. Could you just highlight my guys? They're working their tail off. And for me to see everybody else but my guys stings the heart a little bit. Little bit. Vito and Christian deserve their name up there in the same lights as the on paper guys. On paper, the Lions are supposed to lose. On paper. But we're not doing this on paper where you can say, well, all this stuff can go right and wrong, and I like the Ravens, but I like the Lions. Pick the Lions to win, bro. I sat next to him. We had a good chat. Hello, good evening, goodbye, safe travels. On paper, you were wrong. But it's all fun, man. It's all nonsense. But I wanted to tell her. I wanted to be like, Lindsay, come on. Like, just throw us a bone. One. We're not going to bite. The water's warm. Lions on his side's fine. Last time, what number out of 10 are you concerned? Stock watch. Al-Quadin Muhammad, through the roof. Jack Campbell, through the roof. Flying to the football. Brian Branch did not have a good game, like I predicted. Dropped an interception, too many penalties. Some warranted, some not. That was not his best showing. Who's stock up, stock down in your mind? Jared Goff, stock up. David Montgomery, stock up. Craig Reynolds, stock down. Sione Vaki, stock down. Craig Reynolds was a surprise inactive. Why? I don't know. Vaki's tough right now. He's battling stuff. Groin injury takes him out of the game. Stock up, way up. Al-Quadin Muhammad. What a lovely speech he gave. Thank you guys for the opportunity. I was sitting at home on the couch. This is a prime example of how you take advantage of an opportunity. Yes, yes. Eric, shout out to you. Much love, Eric. Thank you. It was a wild 48 hours, man. Whirlwind. But that full-time life is not for me. You know, for all the complaints you guys give the media for not asking enough tough questions, give them credit. That lifestyle is not for me. Every week to travel, they don't ask tough questions because they're exhausted. Got to wake up at 6 a.m. after writing till 4 a.m. Are you kidding me? Just say, okay, ask tougher questions, but also give them their flowers. I just get a little taste of it once or twice a year. I'm like, I don't want to do it. That's not for me. I got kids. I love my kids. I miss the crap out of them. That's not for me. I love covering the NFL. I love getting paid, but not to that degree. Not that I would do this every week. I miss doing this. I missed going on the air yesterday after the game and being like, hell yeah. But I was typing away. This is where I belong, behind the microphone, riling it up, trying to tell people, hey, how are you going to critique someone in the media when you're not in the media? And also, too, though, thank you for those that when you see some of the little jabs the doc takes, you guys are shouting me out saying, Doc's not scared. Thank you. That's the perfect response. 2 words. Doc, and 3 words. Doc's not scared. Dan can call me out forever. I'm fine. Dan Campbell's called me out twice. And they're like, does he care? No. He can say whatever he wants about me. I don't take it personally. I just am direct, laser focused on the task at hand. Can't penetrate. The haters can't penetrate. You know why? My stock is way through the roof. What do you call it? Bull market. The Detroit Sports Podcast is a bull market. We're doing good stuff. Stock watch. Jared Goff, David Montgomery, Tate Ratledge. You know I told Amon-Ra to say that, right? I run this. Podcasting makes you grow your ego. It helps. I run this, partner. He said partner, didn't he? I run this, partner. What's all the hubbub about? Yo, acting like he said something. I run this, partner. Isn't that what he said? Just like, I run this, partner. That's what I should have said to Miss Lindsay. Lindsay, I run this, partner. She'll look at me and be like, oh, I thought you were some clown. She probably doesn't even know who I am. That would hurt. She'd be like, what the hell is a website for? She's like, who the hell are you? You and your little internet show. That would have hurt. So I didn't approach her. I was this close. But I would have did that. You know what? When she does, finally, if someone messages her and says, hey, like, come on, you're going to include everybody and ignore him? I run this. They put me on their site. I run this, partner. What was all the big hubbub about? I didn't know partner was a bad word. He said the P word. I run this, partner. Listen, I think the guys in the media don't understand ego. Like, because I think they're trained to bring that stuff way down. And as a podcaster, you're trained to kind of bring that way to the forefront. That's why I think Amon-Ra answers all my questions no matter what they are. He's the best. Him and Amik. I would do that job for 20 years if they stay on the roster, just for those two guys. I literally asked Amon-Ra, you want to run it back with the Ravens in the Super Bowl matchup? And he answered it. Partner. Stock watch. Sailors. Brian Branch got a rebound. That's the nicest thing you could say on this episode. Jay Hart. Doc, you're invited to the barbecue. I know. Make sure those ribs are extra tender, bro. Don't be serving me no dry ribs. Make sure the Hennessy is neat and fresh. Hennessy and ribs, Doc, will be over. Keep Auntie away, okay? Auntie's going to find her way talking to Doc, and she'll be like, man, he's kind of fly. Auntie's got to stay away. Partner. Listen, ego's, if you can control a little bit, ego's just fine. It helps you reach success, but you got to control it. Man, Jay Hart, that's really nice, man. Thanks. I know what you mean. Yes, I would be welcome. And you would be as well. The keys to wisdom has to know who I am. Who the hell are you? The keys to wisdom. Hennessy, ribs, and some entertainment. Nice. Who is the biggest? I mean, obviously, Terrion's got to step it up. He's got to be somebody that the Lions can count on to play better. Stock up, DJ Reed. That was a great celebration. Bowling ball, Tyleik Williams. The run defense, stock up. Stock down, coverage against tight ends. Man, it's just a matchup nightmare. Stock to pay attention to. Dan Campbell said today he's still going to try to have. He's going to try to have Jake Bates kick it from 65 plus. I'm more in line if your defense is playing that good. I don't know if I like that. That's an early one. I should have asked why, but he was in a good mood. I don't like that. Pin him deep, but Jack Fox has kind of been a little bit up and down. So, what did you like best? Final thing here from me, which is great because power rankings came out. Are the Lions back as Super Bowl contenders? Not that they ever left, but it's an interesting thing to talk about. Meaning, it's still tough for me to think that they're in the class of being able to win the Super Bowl, but I feel like they can have a nice playoff run if they add. But, the national media jumped off and they were thinking that the Lions were going to fall off completely after one game. Now they realize, okay, Dan Campbell is going to get 10 wins. He's going to be a good coach. It's the final piece for him to get the respect that he deserves fully across the country and from those locally on paper to realize that the Lions could beat the Ravens. Yeah, on paper, the DVOA says that the Lions' run defense is not that good and is not going to be as excellent as Derrick Henry and his Lamar Jackson. Well, guess what? They just spend 2 weeks saying we're going to dog pound and whoop on people. And Sam Laporta steps in front of a camera and is like, we can make a comeback, no problem. Where's that confidence coming from? They're back. They should be challenged to play even better. Give up less than 30 points. And how much credit do you give the Lions for playing a team like the Ravens that was injured? How much credit do you give Detroit? It's still a good win. The answer to me is yes. Yes, they are. Do the Lions need to get a defensive end opposite of Al-Quadin Muhammad? I can safely say that Al-Quadin Muhammad has replaced Davenport. Captain. He has the leg. They want to keep doing it, but it's just that's just a tough distance. I mean, 50 to 60. 60 plus, you're giving up field position. Ryan's on it. End of halves. Coaching can be tightened up. Anything that you want to see Lions improve moving forward. Anything you want to see the Lions continue to get better. Because, look, it's absolutely true. They are back. They're now in the top 5, 6 of most power rankings. I'll get that up tomorrow. The answer is yes. But to be in the class of 1 of 1, to be the favorite going into the playoffs, you got to add pieces. Now, you did see that shot from 99 on Goff. That was scary. That was blown. 68 side. 99 had a free run on Goff. You got lucky with that one. Can't have that happen too often. He did, Jay Hart. Gardner Johnson got cut. You want to bring him back? Quick poll, yes or no? The Lions got to worry about Myles Garrett. He can wreck a game by himself. The Browns are not going to score with you. The Browns can stop you. I feel like the Lions are going to grind it out and get a 10-point win. Be a good game. Lions will be 3-1. The coverage can be better. The secondary can always play better. Branch can get better. You can tighten up defensively against tight ends. Some of the softer coverage resulted in some chunk plays for the Ravens. But I like the Lions matchup offensively overall. And I think, too, the shorter week will help the Lions focus. Do they still have the emotional reserve to fire it up? Is this a schedule loss? I hope not, but I don't think so. It'll be a grinded out game. This one might be one of those ones where you make the comeback. Get down 10-0, slow a little bit. But they pull out the win. We'll have more in the coming days. That was just my early reaction. That was just my first thought. And I apologize. Like I said, I really am on fumes, but I feel like I brought some good energy. But the trip was great. Flights were good. No problem. I spoke to Aiden Hutchinson's dad briefly. He ribbed me for my Spartan lanyard. He said, "That's the best you got?" I didn't understand it at first. And then it hit me. I said, "Oh, that's good." And we talked about it. He said, "Look, Aiden does a good job not to alienate Spartan fans." It was good talk. I said, "Is Aiden going to get paid a fat check?" He said, "I can't tell you that."
I said, it's going to be a fat check, right, partner? He said, oh, yeah, partner. Dr. Chris and I, 2 docs. It was a fun chat. It put me at ease a little bit, too, on the first flight. I hate flying. The nerves were terrible. Couldn't shake the nerves. As much positivity, as much as I've helped other people get on flights, couldn't work on my own self. My thoughts are just like, I'm just hypersensitive to the movements of the plane. The plane gets up, I'm feeling it. Plane comes back down, I'm feeling it. I'm like, oh. I listened to music. I jammed up the Bose headphones and I drank and took some pills. I discovered I got a top 3. Top 1 is the Hazel Baden Old Fashioned. Number 2, Elijah Craig Old Fashioned. Number 3 made the list off of this trip because basically everybody had it. Maker's Mark Old Fashioned hit the spot every single time. They made it extra sweet and it just kind of brought out the flavors. I must have had like 4 of them. And all the bartenders seemed to know how to make it at the seafood places. So I was like, all right, Maker's Mark Old Fashioned, please. And they delivered. So that was cool. I drove around. I rented a car, drove around a little bit. Me and Lamar Jackson did not meet. I was busy. My entourage was just had no time for Lamar. After that game and that performance, he got cut. Baltimore's nice. You know, you got to stay in the business area, nice areas, pier areas. You can kind of tell where to go, where not to go. It was nice. Seafood. I went to Jimmy's and crushed a bunch of oysters. I saw another reporter as I was leaving. Had a good time. Party vibe was great. Best things about the stadium, very, very rowdy, very much a passionate fan base. They have a very tight-quartered press room. I don't like that. Lines is bigger. Their food spread was amazing. The vibe, detailed. They care about details. Big sign that says Media Gate. Media. You know when you see things that are just normal and that look good? Their Media Gate has a big word, big M, media. Anybody can walk around the stadium and see it. Media. Whereas the Lions, it's just a door. You got to figure out where it is. They just do things, certain teams do things a little bit more crisply. The Lions have a big space, though. Food spreads typically favor the road schedule, man. They give out some amazing food. And also, the Baltimore just on point with everything. They sent us transcripts from everybody that talked. Everybody. That goes a long way. They just had fine details. Their descriptions were perfect. It was actually descriptions that were sent from the Ravens to the Lions to us was easy to read. I could easily understand. I never felt directionally challenged. All the spots were labeled. Everything matched up. Everybody knew something. Everybody was friendly. Baltimore was on point from a lost soul perspective. They got me where I needed to go. The police were hilarious. And I was literally, like I said, a freight elevator that holds 60 people. You walk in, you walk down. There's no waiting. You just get in, get down, talk to the media, and get out. The NFL needs to do a better job of uniformity. Every stadium should have a freight elevator. That was amazing. Every media room should have a buffet style dinner that's really delicious. Pineapple chicken, onion rings, crab cakes. There was something else. The mac and cheese was out of this world. Favorite food in Baltimore? I crushed oysters, Brent. I crushed them oysters. It's not a placebo effect. You think I'm tired? She's tired too. Just don't tell my wife. I'm kidding. Wait a minute. John leaves town twice a year. Out of town, fairly handsome, can wine and dine. I'm faithful. Thank you guys for listening. It was a good trip. Hopefully you're entertained, laughed a little bit. So far, so good. I've been okay with that. No food poisoning on the oysters. Ding, ding, ding. What happened Only happened for 3 minutes and we were good. Jonathan Clark, thank you. Hopefully you laughed. Hopefully you're entertained. Hopefully you got a chance to listen a little bit. We'll go more in depth tomorrow. Maybe go 2 hours real in depth on the game. This was just a broad, hey, it was a good game, good win, good effort. I feel good. I earned the biggest thing I wanted to earn from today. I'm invited to the barbecue. But just keep on to your way. And remember, on paper, you can finagle numbers to say whatever you want to say. They said that the Ravens were going to win. On paper. That's good, though. It's good work, good effort. But the non-ball knower looked at the talk and said, Lions are winning. Ribs can be lathered up. It's all good. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the hour. Thanks for acknowledging that these questions are not that difficult. And if you don't like the question today, don't worry. For the next decade, I'll be asking them if I want. And you know I'll be accountable if you like it or you don't. That was a fun hour. It meant a lot to me. It really does that you would invite me and want my company and not just critique me and not know the reason behind it. I enjoyed doing the podcast. Thank you. Sorry for the extreme lack of detail, but this is it. A couple more stories will come out, but that's the extent of the energy I got for Lions work today. But we'll be back at it tomorrow. Remember, you can be tired, but you can grind through it. You can tell. Holy cow. Whew, that's the credit the reporters for that lifestyle. That's not adult family man's lifestyle. Hell no, it ain't. I'm the Doc, the John Macaroon. I'm the Doc, John Macaroon. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate the attention. Just give me a like, comment, the things to comment on today. Concern level for Terrion Arnold. Who impressed you the most? Do the Lions need a defensive end opposite of Al-Quadin Muhammad? Can Al-Quadin play better? Early thoughts on the Browns. Answer the question. Did you laugh when you saw Dan bring up motion? I stay in motion. When you stop moving, you stop thriving. When you stop talking, you stop earning. I talk for a living. I type for a living. I cover the Detroit Lions for a living. And you guys help me do that. So whether you like it or you don't like it, thanks for sharing. Thanks for staying in my realm of motion. Thanks for staying in my range of motion in this little slice of the internet. Let's get back at it tomorrow. You know I'll bring it. Because on paper, I'm a good podcaster. But in real life, I love sports and I love podcasting. Peace.